Hello, I'm Kjartan, and you probably know what this is. It's a chessboard. In fact, this particular really nice one. This was my 18th birthday present from my mum and dad many years ago. It's a lovely, lovely thing. In fact, when I was a little lad, when I was at school, age 10, I was quite good at chess. I came second in the school chess competition. Woohoo! So this is one of my favourite things. I'll quickly show you another of my favourite things. Look at this one. That's a different story. Let's get back to the chessboard. It's an amazing game. Look, nice little pieces and stuff like that. But the weird thing is, in my old age, I don't play the game much. What I really like is just the actual board itself. 64 black and white squares. And you can do so many weird things with it. What I've done, I've got this piece of paper here, can you see? And there's all the black and white squares, and I've numbered them from 1 to 64. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it finishes at 64 at the bottom. I am going to use this little piece of paper to show you something which is going to make your head explode. Hey, watch this. We start off in the top corner on the number 1 square, and we just put one little penny, okay? But on the next square, the number 2 square, we put 2 little pennies, like that, yeah? Now, we're not going to go 3, 4, 5. In fact, we're going to double up as we go along. So on the next square, if we double 2, we get to 4. I'm actually going to run out of pennies here, so I've got to use these like that. There we are. That's 4 pennies. But when we get to the next square, we double 4, and we get to, where are we? We get to 8 pennies. And so, as we keep going, the numbers keep doubling. As you can see, it gets really fiddly putting those little piles of pennies together. So what I've done, I've actually written out the numbers of pennies that go on each square along the top row. So let's look at this. So it starts off with 1 penny, then 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. So there's 128 pennies just sitting in a pile on there on number 8. And if you add up all the pennies on the top row, in total, we will need 255 pennies. So the big question is, how many pennies will there be when we get to square 64? Have a guess. Well, you're wrong. But what we're going to do now, don't worry about the numbers of pennies. Let's just see how big the piles of pennies are going to be as we keep moving along the board. Remember, we had 8 pennies sitting on our 4 square, and that's the height of those 8 pennies. When we move to the 5th square, that number 5 shows the height of the pennies on the 5th square. When we get to the 6th square, the height doubles again, and that's the height of the pennies. When we get to the 7th square, that's the height of the pennies. And when we get to the 8th square, the height of the pennies on the 8th square is there. I've now had to put the chessboard actually on the floor so I can show you how high these piles are getting, because the pile of coins on the 9th square gets to about there. On the 10th square it doubles again, it gets to there. The pile of pennies on the 11th square is about as tall as me. The pile of pennies on the 12th square is going to smash through the ceiling of my room. The pile of pennies on the 13th square will be about as tall as my house. And do you know how high that pile's going to be on the 14th square? Come with me, I'll show you. The pennies on square 14 are about as high as that tree. Well, that's square 14. Let's move on a little bit now. The next square we're going to have a look at, as they keep doubling up and doubling up and doubling up, is square number 20. And for this, we're going to look at the tallest building in the world. It's the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, that great big tower in Dubai. It's 828 metres tall, not counting the aerial on the top. So it's about half a mile in the sky, yeah? The pile of pennies on square number 20 is about the same height as that tower, the tallest building in the world. And that's just square 20. When we get to square 21, the pile of pennies has doubled in height. And so all of a sudden, you're looking rather small. By the way, when you get to square 21, that pile of pennies is about a mile high and there's about 1 million pennies in that pile. But we're going to keep going on now. We're going to whiz on until we get to square 39. This is where the fun really kicks off, because the pile of pennies on square 39 is about as high as the moon. I'm not making this up, it's true. And then once we get past 39, we keep doubling. We get to square 48. The pile of pennies on square 48 has gone way past the moon. It's gone past the sun. That pile of pennies is 1.5 times the height of the sun. But I know what you're thinking. Let's get to the end. How many pennies, how big is the pile on square 64? Oh, goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, how many pennies? Let's deal with that first of all. I'll tell you how many pennies there are, then you see if you can work out how high they might be. The number of pennies on square 64 is 9,223,372,854,775,808. Yes, I do know that number off by heart. Don't know why, I just do. That is a massive, massive number. But here's the really freaky bit. The height of the pile of pennies on square 64 is 1.5 light years. What's a light year? That's another video for another day, okay? All I can tell you is that pile of pennies started off with 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. That pile of pennies goes way out beyond the edge of our solar system. That's how high it is, okay? That's why I love chessboards. That's why I love the pennies. Thanks for watching. Let's have a little happy noise to finish with. Bye.